a couple of items on the agenda today. I wanted to, the first thing is make sure, and I'm looking at my calendar. I'm kind of cheating while I'm doing this because I have my notes in my calendar. My phone is being charged. The first thing I wanted to do was make sure that everybody got the video. I know not everybody watches everything from our office. What? You guys don't watch every single, you don't see every email we send to you? Is that shocking? No, we actually do. We've done a great job. I think I have to commend our team with, we do our best to consolidate information for you. Or if something is really urgent, we do send it out in an email. So that's our primary way of communicating. And then we may follow up with a text. We used to send emails every day. And also if you're getting the daily digest, you get them every day. So just a reminder to check emails. And, you know, if you missed the email that I sent out, that was my way. I did a little video for you guys announcing the rollout of phase 1 of KW My Way. So I wanted to make sure that everybody got that. And if there were any questions about that, what I can tell you is, well, again, congratulations to all who benefited from the wonderful increase and split. You know, as I mentioned in the video, we really are constantly evolving and growing and changing as a company, as a group. And we always are looking for ways and things that we can do to help you, you know, our agents. So, and then the coaching program, I think I made that clear. I just want to make sure you guys didn't have any questions. The other thing is the next step to that is Sam will be sending you a document, which we've kind of been going back and forth on making it as simple as possible for everybody. And so we came up with, we kind of redrafted just a new document rather than we did an amendment to your original sheet that you filled out when you came on board, which is what's called a cost sheet or an investment sheet for some of you, and it breaks down the splits. So we changed it in there. We just made a one-sheeter, so you'll sign that, and it basically says that you choose to elect to take the 80%, and then it lets you know that your monthly fee is also been reduced to $75 a month. Any other questions about that as far as what we've already rolled out? Oh, April, so that it's for any escrows, because I did get a couple of questions about this. I think I said it in the video, but I want to make sure that you guys are clear that any escrows that open April 1st or later, this is applicable to. This is not applicable to your deal that's closing tomorrow or anything that was already in escrow. Okay, so any questions about the My Way program? Hopefully everybody knows what I'm talking about. And if you don't, then what you can do is when you have a closing, if you have something that opens and Shelby is working on your commissions, you know, your DA, she may also ask you if she notices that it's, say, at a 70%, she may ask you if you want to take it. Now, again, I know that some of you will not opt for the 80% due to the opportunity to cap sooner. Okay. Yes, Nicole, I mentioned the monthly fee, so that is now at 75. I think that's it. Okay, any other questions about My Way? Your way? Your way.
Thank you.
Yeah, Kayla, you're welcome. Okay, so next thing is, let me see if Michelle is on. I want to make sure she covers what she wanted to cover with you this morning. Michelle, are you? I'm looking for her to see if she's on yet. Okay, she had an item on the agenda, which is going to take a few minutes. So let me just skip. Okay, next thing is I wanted to ask you guys, well, let you know that we are in the final stages of hiring our new front desk office manager person. And I met with him yesterday and he is great. And I'm pretty sure he's going to start next week. So we'll announce him to you guys. Very, very excited to have him on the team. So I'm really excited. And I know the rest of our executive team is super excited because a lot of us have been taking on a lot of the responsibilities of that role. and Latasha probably getting, taking on the majority of that because she was in the role before and she was such a rock star. So I'm excited to be able to get Latasha back to helping you guys with your tech completely. And that said, we are looking for somebody to also work on the tech stuff with Latasha. So if you, and this can be an agent, this particular role, sorry, my allergies are, anyway, so Latasha, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about what this person would do and see if any of our agents are interested that are, now you have to be pretty tech savvy, you guys, and be able to have the patience and wherewithal to, assist our agents in helping train them on the tech. So if somebody has challenges and needs help with something, meeting with them one-on-one. Anything else, Latasha, you want to add? I'm just mentioning it because we don't have that person in place yet. We have a couple of potential options and we're looking at some ways of divvying up responsibilities, but I want to put it out there. Latasha, you want to mention anything about that?
Yeah, so in the very interim stage, it would be more of an admin / tech role. So I'd get them acclimated to the back end of things, i.e. how we come up with our classes. And how we come up with our classes, just so you know, is we let our vital signs dictate what training the agents need in terms of maximizing command. And then we allow that, we do a dial in on the research part of that. And then that dictates everything. So the first part of the foundation would be getting that person up to speed on the vital signs, how to run those reports, how to help, put all of the command awards together. And then the other really crucial piece is just being able to guide the agents on a one-on-one basis, specifically from the 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., which are outside of my working hours. And so just being that one-on-one support. And so you would get definitely a good dial in terms of foundational principles from me. And then we would be meeting weekly, once a week. And really that would be the first part of it. And then as that person grows more into the tech side, then we can take on more. But it really would be at the very beginning of admin tech role, just to make sure everyone's comfortable and it works well. And then we could add more tech pieces to that.
Yeah. Thank you, Latasha. And we are still also looking for a position that would be based out of Kona, which this agent could be on the Big Island too. I mean, they don't have to physically be anywhere in particular. But, so we're adding that person too. So that would be an administrative person that's probably not an agent that gets hired to support the Big Island agents in addition to, Latasha supporting everybody. So if you have any referrals for that, I know some of you have talked to people on the front desk and we got resumes for that. So that was really helpful. Thank you. I also wanted to give you guys a heads up. If you're corresponding with me a lot, I have brought on a virtual assistant. Her name is Jamie. She seems amazing so far. I mean, she's been a rock star so far. So I'm pretty excited. So you may be hearing from her. So if you're like, who's this? That's who she is. And lastly, before I saw Michelle jumped in, so I'm going to let her go in a minute, I just want to talk about some upcoming trainings and remind you guys that we have a couple of ones coming up that I want to recommend to you. The most important being, and Latasha, I'm going to pull it up if maybe you can, it's the listing clinic. I wanted to pull up. Can you put the flyer? Can you grab? Is that flyer postable in the chat box?
I think so. Let me work on it.
If not, we can share your screen and just show it to them. Can you pull it up and share your screen? I really want to make sure that you guys register for this. So we have a class coming up from Beverly Steiner too, which is a consulting clinic. That's more geared towards leadership, rainmakers, team builders, or if you're running another business that you have anywhere where you lead people. I mean, you lead your clients. So probably the consulting clinic would be good and applicable to you as an agent too, to lead your clients and consult with them. I would say it's more geared towards leadership, coaches, for example, the coaches, all of our leadership team. And then the listing clinic though, this is the one. Latasha, do you have that? The Gene Rivers one? I saw you just sent it out. Okay.
I've got the listing one up and now I'm getting the consultant. Hold on.
Okay, can you share?
Yep.
Okay. Share that real quick.
So this is the listing.
Now, I mean, yes. And the reason, okay, I know this is going to seem like a silly question. I want you guys to get involved and answer though. Why do you think this class is happening? What would be the reason that the Northern California and Hawaii region thought it would be a good idea to have one of the best instructors in the entire world
inventory
teach us?
Oh,
Yes, was that Sam? Good
We
job.
need listings.
Yes, we do. So Gene Rivers, seriously, this guy's a master, and he also looks a lot like my dad, by the way. If I should like pull up, if I had like a picture and showed you, he looks a lot like my dad. He reminds me of my dad. Anyway, I've taken classes from him. Some of you have. He is seriously one of the best instructors there is, and has an intense, I mean, the guy has done a ton of business over the years too, like a ridiculous amount of business. So May 6th, mark this on your calendar right now, which is going to start our time at 7. You can do it first thing in the morning. It's like a half day, 7 to 2, $25. So a lot of your training, as you know, the majority of your training is free, especially if it's something we're doing locally and even nationally, we have free training. These types of trainings, which oftentimes when they were live, you could go and fly to them and they're like 250 whatever bucks. So now they're doing everything virtually, which we get the opportunity to take advantage of. And there is a price. Sometimes it gets donated to KW Cares. Oftentimes it's paying to help pay the instructor's fee because we have to pay for somebody that's an outside instructor to teach in our region, which is, you know, usually at least a few $1,000s. So put that in your calendar, go to that. I can't stress it enough. It's literally for everybody. So that's, and then to register. So that's in the calendar, right? Is it in our intranet calendar? So you can go to our intranet calendar, hit the registration, Eventbrite. Okay. Awesome. Anything else training wise that I'm missing that we want to stress? I've got 2 more things. One is I want Michelle to talk about what she's got today on a topic. And then is Dawn Harris on? Because I want somebody to talk about, or I saw Celeste is on. Any of my ALC members to talk about committees. I want you guys to share what we've got going on because we had such an incredible wealth group committee meeting last night. So I want to make sure people are aware of what's going on there. Okay, Michelle, take it away. I know you're going to talk about something super exciting today. Owner builder.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Sam sent out an email this morning that had an attachment, which is a brochure from the DCCA RICO department about owner builder properties. So just as a survey.
I think it's going out in our Friday. Did it go out today or is it going to go out?
It did go out today.
Okay,
I saw it this morning and it was referenced to this morning's meeting.
Okay.
So that I was going to talk about this morning. So owner builder is important because if someone builds a home with an owner builder permit, they cannot rent or sell it for 1 year from date of completion. Okay, so that's important for us because we can unknowingly get involved in a situation where we're now violating that law by selling that house. So it's important if someone is finishing new construction, you determine, was this contractor built with a license? Are all the permits closed? If they're an owner builder, many of them should, but don't know that they cannot rent or sell that for a year, or they know it and they're trying to do it anyways. Do not get involved with a listing on an owner builder that has been completed for less than 1 year. We will not take those listings. The only exception to that is the owner builder can apply for a hardship exemption through the contractors board. This is all covered in that 1-page flyer that went out this morning. So this is just a reminder and refresher. And for new agents, I realize we don't really talk about it that much. That's one of those laws that's just kind of out there, but that everyone needs to really have top of mind. Any questions about owner builders and our ability to sell their properties?
Baron was just asking if it was for Maui, and I responded statewide because
It's a state law. It's
Yeah.
statewide. It covers all counties in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty black and white law. They have an exemption, but you have to go to the contractors board and get it, and they give you a certificate. So if someone says, oh, I'm exempt, great. May I see your certificate from the contractors board? Let's get all this up front to avoid problems at the end.
So from a systems perspective, right? How do we assure that this is what's happening, or we know, and it's adding it to your consultation, right? So when you take a listing, it's a question. So this should be something that, we're teaching probably in coaching, and also the brokers. It's an opportunity to maybe have the brokers clarify or ask questions. We can systemize it any way you want. I mean, we can put it in our listing agreements or listing consultation arguments. Well, you could actually put in your listing agreements actually for them to assure that it's not. But it's, make sure that you're asking that, because you may not know. You may know, but you may not know. Okay. So
and
ask
it's
that.
also important to re-verify if you're writing a purchase contract on new construction that is an independent person, independent builder. That's not a townhomes or a DR Horton, a major builder, a Stanford Carr. If you're buying new construction that a individual general contractor built, is he really a general? Is he licensed? Was this done as a licensed project through the county? Or was this an owner builder permit? It will say it right on the orange card that is posted at all construction sites. If you go and read the orange card, it'll tell you who the permit's issued to, and that it's issued as an owner builder permit.
And
so
can I add, important. Michelle?
Yes.
Even if it's not new construction, it's been maybe the seller lived there for 5 years, 10 years, and there is an open permit that he failed to get closed, and it was an owner builder. They'll have that problem.
Yeah, we have a lot of permit issues on all of our islands where people don't have closed permits, or even for remodeling or additions. But my big concern this morning is that you determine if that is an owner builder, that their completion date, and then 1 year from the completion date before you can write a contract. We can't do anything with that. And we've had a few come up in our company on Maui. It's been a few years, but it's coming back up again because inventory is low. So people think, oh, well, I'll build a house on the land I own, or I'll buy a piece of land and build. And so now we're starting to see that creep back up again. All right. Any other questions on owner builder? Please read the email. Please save the flyer.
I have a question.
Kayla, you have a question?
Yeah. Is it okay to still write a purchase contract on a property that has open permits? And you can add it as a clause or and amend it to the contract that the buyer's okay with open permits and would take responsibility of them after?
If you're aware of them when you write the contract, I wouldn't necessarily include it in the contract, but you could have it included in the seller's disclosure statement, and that would be part of the seller's responsibility if you're going to ask them in that due diligence to address those open permits. Depending on what it is, some lenders want it done, some don't. So, and some of them are easy and some of them are difficult. I really encourage not to be bringing the county of Maui onto a property, because you could open a huge can of worms. When the county accesses a property, they're not just going to look at the one thing you didn't do. They're like, oh, well, as long as I'm here, let me just look around. What else can I find? Now you have setback issues, encroachment issues. So I really hesitate to bring the county into a property. We've had issues where we had a listing agent who no longer is with us, who brought them in on a Kihei property, and it ended up not only blowing up the deal, but costing the seller tens of thousands of dollars, because the county didn't look at just closing the permit on the new electrical panel. They looked at some encroachment issues and setback issues, and like a third of the house was in the setbacks. You know how people just build it and hope for forgiveness? they ended up, having to take a good significant part of that structure down. So when you tell your client, well, we need to bring the county in, that's not our decision to make. We as agents don't make decisions. Our clients make decisions that we facilitate. You can present the issue and let them make that decision, because you don't want to be the one who called the county and then the seller's like, now I've got $80,000 in fines, or I have to take out half my house. So if you have those issues, call me, call your BIC, we'll walk you through it. But we want to make sure that we're addressing that we're not selling owner builder within that 1 year window.
Yeah, good question. Thank you.
Michelle, quick question.
Yes.
Does this mean
Okay.
that you can also not have a client that you're representing on the buyer side? You can't, if you know that, you can't have them buy it either.
I'm sorry, say that again.
So if you're representing the buyer and it's an owner builder property, they cannot buy it. You have to advise them they cannot buy it because they haven't lived in
You
it. The
can
owner
advise
builder.
them the seller cannot sell it within 1 year of completion, that violates Hawaii law, and you can highlight it, that section, and hand them the brochure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, again, not our decision. What we're going to do is provide the information to say, hey, by the way, this listing, we know whatever, if you're representing them and it's an owner builder, you would want to verify that it is not within that 1 year time frame. So you can inquire on behalf of your client to the listing agent and look at the seller's disclosure. And then if you still believe that maybe it's not being properly disclosed, or it is, or you see it clearly in Kiva or whatever, then I would advise that they talk to an attorney, a real estate attorney, to determine the next course of action, because that's not our,
We cannot
Right?
represent them in the transaction. So if you have knowledge that it's within that 1 year period, it has not cleared 1 year from date of completion, you cannot write that purchase contract.
So you have to go to Michelle.
You have
to
to
talk
come
to
to
her
me
about it
so
if
we
you
can look
think-
at what options can be done, how close are we to the end of that period, et cetera. Because if you write that contract and facilitate the contract, you broke the law, and RICO will cite you. We
I
cannot
had a-
knowingly break the law.
I had
Bonnie? Oh, Maria, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a property, and they did have an open, or no, they had done some work unpermitted. So what we did was the owner got a licensed contractor to submit the plans, and we did it that way instead of having, even though it was owner builder, he found a contractor that was his friend, et cetera, and the contractor did it under his license. So that might be an avenue for people if they have to get stuff closed.
Sounds
Thank you,
good.
Maria.
Bonnie.
Thank you. So last year I sold 2 lots in Laniqueja to an investor client of mine who's planning to build a couple of spec houses. So Michelle, based on what you described, this type of scenario falls in these rules. Is that correct?
If they're building under an owner builder permit, if they're hiring a licensed general contractor, the contractor's pulling the permit and it does not apply.
Okay, thanks for clarifying
But
that.
builders will build spec homes and they can sell them right away because they're licensed contractors.
Thank you.
It's if you're don't hold a license and you're pulling it as an owner builder, that's a separate type of permit. And this law only applies to that type of permit.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Michelle.
Thanks.
Exciting stuff. Okay, I wanted to bring to your attention that I started a spreadsheet that I also shared with you. This was in an email where I was talking about our lack of inventory, and we have some agents in the company that are calling to look for a listing, basically something that's not on the market for your buyer. So there was a spreadsheet that I shared with you guys called KWRM Active Pre-Qualified Buyer Needs. So I noticed that some people started filling that out. Let me share with you what it looks like. And it was literally just something I threw together because I was like, oh my gosh, we need listings. And Some people said, hey, I will find property if I know what our buyers are looking for, meaning your guys' buyers with the company. So I see some of you I put in one as an example, and some of you are filling this sheet out. So this is great. This is shared with all of you in the email that I sent out. So look for the email from me that talks about the spreadsheet, or I don't even know what I put in the thing, but you can search stuff from me, lisa.financialnetwork@gmail.com, and you'll see that I sent you guys this link. So I want to encourage you, if you have buyers and you don't have a property to sell them, then put the information in the spreadsheet. They're obviously not going to have your buyer's information. This is really for you to say, I have a buyer looking for X, so find me X property. And then it's a win-win, because the agent that's calling will find maybe something for your client, for your buyer, and then you get to sell it to them, right? This is anywhere, Baron. So we have people on the Big Island that are making calls too.
And I believe Antonita is also modeling your spreadsheet and creating one specifically
Island
for the
separately.
Big Island.
Okay, well, they can put it on this one, or if you have your Big Island one specifically, you can do that. Teresa, so basically, good question. So you're asking about the commission. So for the agent that's calling, what they're doing, and this is what we teach all of you to do if you're looking for property off market, is to get an agreement, a commission agreement signed, an agency disclosure and commission agreement from this person prior to writing up a contract to sell it. You want to make sure that the seller is going to pay a fee, and that fee will then you can share that fee, or they would share that fee with you. So yes, as a buyer's agent, the idea would be they're going to find a property that might work for your person, and they're going to say to this owner, I need you to sign this agreement, which is basically a commission and agency disclosure and commission agreement that says, or it could be a listing agreement, just a regular listing contract, and they can list the property. But the idea is, if they find it and it's for our buyer, it can just be a commission agreement, agency disclosure. They sign it, say, yes, I'll pay 6%, and then share. Then we'll pay you guys half or whatever it is. Yes, that's the plan. Kauai, Crystal, sure, put your people on there. Why not? Any other questions? If the client doesn't want the found property, then they don't. Then the agent may be able to sell it to somebody else, and they get a listing. It's one of the benefits of them making the calls and talking to owners to get another listing. But they really are calling with a legit buyer, because we don't let you, call people and say, I have a buyer, and you don't have a buyer. So this allows us to pool and have our agents have our buyers, meaning our buyers as a company, which is a great benefit. So yes, but at least you, Teresa, what I would say to that too is, if it doesn't fit for your buyer, but you've now given your buyer the opportunity to potentially buy a property that nobody else had the chance to look at or buy, what kind of an agent does that make you for them? Pretty awesome, right? Okay, and two more things. So committees, reminder, we're in the first month of having meetings for all of the Agent Leadership Council committees. And to the two that so far we've started working on that I know of, and I'm not sure if anybody else that's an ALC member has any input, but I do know, like last night I was part of, so Don Harris and Celeste Molina are ALC members in charge of the Wealth Building Committee. And we had our first meeting last night. Thank you to those of you who attended. I'm on fire for this committee. It is going to be phenomenal. It's all about the 3 tiers on the business plan, and the 1, 3, 5 are financial education for everybody that's involved in the committee and our agents. The second one is independent investment opportunities. And the second one is group investment opportunities. The third one is independent investment opportunities. So we're covering everything in that group from, financial planning and services and products, insurance, stocks, bonds, SEP accounts, to investment properties, passive income opportunities, buying in bulk, potentially buying commercial, building your credit, buying your own property for your own home. Whatever you guys need to do financially to build that net worth and to get you guys in a better financial position for your life, that's what we're focused on. And I'm super, super excited about it. So we have an event coming up the 15th of April, which Stacy sent out a flyer for on the 101 Financial, which is one of the financial education companies. So we partnered with them as a financial education company. I encourage you to attend that. Don Harris and Celeste are in charge. If you want to find out when the next meeting is, reach out to them. We'll also send an email out. We're going to be doing those meetings once a month. And then we're also doing, we're picking books to read. We're sharing resources of people or programs we follow or people that we read or listen to. I'm going to Dave Ramsey's Entree Leadership Conference next month, which I'm super excited about. I'll bring back any information on that. And then the other committee that I had my first meeting. So I met with Lee Potts and Dean Otto. And Joyce Mitchell Minar in the ALC helped us develop a business plan for the luxury committee. So we also have a plan in place for that. You will be getting an email. You'll be getting an email about the first meeting for the luxury committee. That'll come out this week or next week at the latest. And those of you who are already members of Keller Williams Luxury International, you will be invited to that. And then we'll be talking about how we're going to, what our plans are for that committee and what you guys can do to participate and benefit from it. And then those of you who want to get into luxury that are not yet will have the opportunity to attend the meetings and audit the meetings, and then, maybe participate in a plan or a program to work your way up into qualifying for the actual exclusive luxury membership. I mean, anybody can use some of the resources now, which is great. But I'm really excited. We have some great committee leaders and people who are putting those together and working with us on those. Michelle.
For everyone on the call, can you just restate the requirements to be in luxury, price point,
Yes.
and how many sales?
Great question. Yeah. So again, there are certain things, products and marketing materials, which is in the KW Luxury Hub in your KW Connect, that everybody has access to and can use. If you are going to be part of the qualifying group, which has additional benefits and an exclusive network and some other marketing things that you can do, the qualification for Maui is 4 sales in the last 24 months or 2 years, 4 transactions, that's it, at 1.9 million or higher. That's the 2021 qualifications. For the Big Island on the Hilo side, the Big Island on the Kona side, it's 4 transactions at 1.5 million or higher over the last 24 months, or anything that you get. Like, so if you close one, that's 1.5 and you've already closed 3, right? Now you're qualified. Hilo side, I mean, we just took the floor on that one, which was 700,000 was the lowest they let us pick, because we were like, hey, it's Hilo. And, so you guys also have an advantage, especially if you're selling something that's like Hilo, but it's like Hamakua or Coast or like, you can find stuff that's over $1 million, but a lot of your luxury stuff is going to be less than that. So 700,000 is the floor for Hilo for 4 sales. And then Kauai, we actually, right now, Kauai is tied to the Maui number, which is 1.9. But if you want me to check on like what the other group is doing or get into whatever their number is, we can do that too. Or if you have a suggestion for my Kauai peeps, let me know what it is. And then Oahu, I have to check on Oahu as well and see what theirs is. I actually don't know. I have to check. I could check on Kauai and Oahu for you guys. Any questions on any of that?
I have one other thing to add.
Yes.
Separate from going back to the Gene Rivers class, I did take a class with Gene Rivers in California a couple years ago. I have to tell you, his class is worth $2,500. I mean, the fact you can go for $25, I'm going to be signing up this morning. He is probably the best presenter I've ever heard on listings in the Keller Williams network. And how many market centers does he own, Lisa?
I don't know, but he does own some market centers and he has a region. I think he's in a regional OP.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy knows what he's doing.
phenomenal participation in ownership within Keller Williams and just an incredible instructor. I don't usually encourage you guys to attend, every trainer that comes, but I've got to tell you, this virtual training with Gene Rivers is a must attend.
Yeah. Thank you for that testimonial. Yeah, he's amazing. All right. All right. That's it, you guys. Have an awesome rest of your day and we'll see you soon. And keep up the great work. Have a productive week. You guys are killing it out there. So keep it up. Find listings. Okay. Bye.
Thank you.